Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking the absolute profit engine of literally any hotel, and that is housekeeping. We are going to map out a complete 360-degree operational blueprint together. We'll start way up at the macro level, looking at how departments communicate, and then zoom all the way down to the micro-level mechanics of exactly how to clean a room. And stick around, because later we're going to uncover this incredibly clever $20 cash room trick that managers use to basically guarantee top-tier cleanliness. It's a really fascinating look into the systems that keep the entire hospitality industry running.
Okay, let's dive right in. We've got a lot of ground to cover logically today. Coordinating with the front office, the room attendant role, safety and toolbox talks, preparing and cleaning rooms, and finally, motivating your cleaning staff.
Starting with Section 1. Coordinating with the front office. Now, you might think housekeeping operates in its own little bubble, right? But the truth is, no department in a hotel is truly independent. Since rooms are the largest selling items and by far the biggest contributor to a hotel's profits, the relationship between housekeeping and the front office is absolutely vital. They literally have to be in constant lockstep.
So the crucial piece here is how information actually flows between these two hubs. Think of it as a continuous two-way street. The front office essentially hands down the daily blueprint. They're sending over occupancy forecasts, night reports with the house count and average room rates, plus lists of expected VIP arrivals so housekeeping can plan their staff. But on the flip side, housekeeping is reporting back highly actionable data. They're the ones telling reception when a room is officially ready and saleable. They're also spotting discrepancies, like say the system shows a room is empty, but there's actually luggage inside. Or unusual stuff, like a do not disturb sign that's been hanging on the exact same door for 2 whole shifts. It's a completely closed-loop communication system.
Moving on to Section 2, the room attendant role. Let's look at how all that high-level planning builds the very foundation of the department. These room attendants are the folks executing that massive daily workload, reporting up to a senior attendant, a supervisor, or the executive housekeeper.
Since the quality of their work literally dictates the guest experience, their training cannot just be theory. According to the ASEAN Standard for Tourism Labor, the framework relies super heavily on competency-based training, or CBT for short. Meaning, we are focusing strictly on equipping attendants to do specific, practical tasks to the exact standard employers demand. It's not about clocking hours in a classroom, it is 100% about proving you can physically prepare and clean a room to a rigorous baseline.
Section 3. Safety and toolbox talks. Now, before anyone even picks up a mop or a vacuum, managers need to get the team aligned. They do this through quick, focused housekeeping toolbox talks to keep safety standards incredibly high.
These talks are super practical and follow 4 actionable steps. First up, managers have to know the risks by doing hazard audits. Second, you open the meeting with a clear agenda. Third, go over the basics. We're talking everyday hazards here like slips, fire risks, or falling objects. And fourth, remind everyone of those safety policies that honestly just get taken for granted over time. And actually, a quick aside here, these talks are also the perfect time to tackle substandard cleaning issues head-on. If your latest room inspections showed consistent problems, you address it right here, realigning the whole team before they even hit the floor.
Section 4. Preparing and cleaning rooms. This is where it gets really interesting, as we transition into the actual micro-level mechanics of physically cleaning a guest room. This is CBT in action.
It all starts with prep. Before the deep cleaning even begins, attendants have to tackle the immediate issues. They turn off the fridge to let it defrost, yank out dirty towels, and clear out the rubbish. And this perfectly illustrates that preparation phase. Stale, exposed food is an incredibly unpleasant sight for any incoming guest. So room service trays absolutely must be covered right away with a napkin and placed out in the corridor for room service staff to grab quickly.
Once that prep is done, attendants execute a precise 11-step methodology. We've condensed it down here into 6 critical phases. You enter and open the curtains. Get some light and air in there. Strip and make the bed. Then dust and polish every surface. Next, replenish guest supplies and scrub out the bins and fridge. Finally, vacuum, deodorize, and do a really strict final inspection. By doing it in this exact order every single time, hotels essentially eliminate guesswork and ensure every room meets the exact same standard.
But that standard actually shifts depending on the room's status. If a room is currently occupied, the priority pivots heavily toward respecting the guest's privacy. Attendants must never throw out personal items. Seriously, no matter how old they seem. If there's a week-old newspaper sitting there, you leave it. And if there are obvious business papers scattered all over a desk, attendants are specifically trained to completely avoid tidying that area. They limit their work to just emptying the waste paper bin nearby, and they always replace items exactly where they found them.
Checkout rooms, on the other hand, are a totally different story. They require a much more intensive cleaning to completely reset the room to its pristine baseline. You have to hit all those easily forgotten details. We're talking air conditioning vents, wiping down doors and top ledges, dusting picture frames and glass, scrubbing skirting boards, and even inspecting the walls for cobwebs or marks. It's a total structural reset.
Section 5. Motivating your cleaning staff. Okay, so we've got the standard and we have the training, but now we have to talk about the human element. Think about this. A room attendant cleans an average of 13 to 17 rooms in a single 8-hour shift. That's roughly 75 rooms a week. It's highly repetitive, physically demanding, and let's be honest, it can be boring work.
So, this brings up a massive question for any operation. Since perceived cleanliness is literally the #1 factor for men and the #2 factor for women when choosing a hotel, how on earth do we get staff to consistently care about the tiny details? If the air vents are dusty, guest satisfaction totally tanks. So how do you sustain that motivation room after room, day after day?
Well, here is a highly creative solution from the source material, the cash room technique. Here's how it works, and it's brilliant. Management announces they'll be doing impromptu weekly inspections. They randomly pick one room assigned to a housekeeper, and they physically place 10 $2 bills right on the bed, $20 total. Then they inspect the room alongside that housekeeper. For every single cleaning deficiency they find, maybe a smudge on the mirror or a missed cobweb, they remove one of those bills. As the source material bluntly puts it, cash bonuses really do motivate. Letting the housekeeper keep whatever cash is left at the end of the inspection completely gamifies the whole process. Because the room attendant has absolutely no idea which room is going to be the cash room or even when the inspection is going to happen, it forces this conscious, highly detailed effort on every single room they clean all week long. It's such a small investment, but the return on quality is just massive.
So, zooming out to the big picture here. Every single point we've explained today acts as a vital gear in your hotel's ultimate profit engine. It kicks off with crystal clear communication from the front office. It gets standardized by rigorous competency-based training on the micromechanics of cleaning. And it's powered by active, clever motivation. If even one of those gears stops turning, the whole guest experience just breaks down.
Which brings us to our final question for you today. Looking at your own daily operations, or the systems in your own workplace, what small investment or communication shift are you going to make today to elevate your standards? Will you introduce a quick toolbox talk? Maybe tighten up your feedback loop with the front desk? Or hey, maybe you'll try out the $20 trick. Really think about how you can empower your team today. Thanks so much for joining me on The Explainer, and keep learning.